We do now what's done over in the Middle East. We just come over and chop your fingers off, okay? Because we want your undivided attention. So you're not a distraction to your neighbors and or yourself. And we have a lot of things to say tonight. So first of all, thank you for coming, the guests that are here. Welcome to Empowered. You're going to do a few things. You're here for two reasons. One, because somebody invited you, and you're going to learn about our concepts. And Sean, you're here. Sean, right? Yeah, you're a second time. And the truth be told is that it takes a few times to see it to really get it. In fact, it could take you months to get it. It could take you a day to get it. It really is up to the individual. But what we talk about are some vital things that are important to all of you. It's called money. But that's the bottom line. You know, what kills me is you all work for it very hardly. How many hours a week do you work, Sean? About 50, 55. That's a lot of hours, wouldn't you say? See, and you're not alone. Jeffrey, how many hours do you put in a week? Forever. You know, in fact, he's self-employed pretty much, so he works whenever he has to work and does whatever he has to do. But see, the beauty is that he's self-employed. Most of us are not that fortunate. We wind up working for somebody else. So that's a problem. So you're here for an opportunity, because we did make this a business opportunity. But certainly the services are for everybody that's here. And if you don't get what the service is all about tonight, then we didn't do a very good job. And we're really alarmed. In fact, I just want to relate two stories to you that happened to me today. And it just blows me away about the mindsets of people. Because your thinking is you normally stinking thinking. We got to start getting back on a crusade and go dream again. And I'm blown away how many people don't. For instance, I was at a bank today, okay, doing some business, and we invited a young banker that was here a couple of weeks ago. Well, I hadn't seen him again, and I sent him an email. We don't chase anybody in this business, because that's not what this is about. This is not potion, lotions, and pills. This is only your financial future. That's what this is. So, and we don't compare ourselves to any other thing, because nothing else exists like this, frankly. And we say that with a degree of confidence because we understand. We already know that. We're in the business. So we had the young man. He saw me. He was in the back room doing something. I'm at the bank. And all the bankers talk to me. They all, you know, convince and fool around. And so he was in the back apparently, and he heard me. I had to stay behind and do some forms and do some mailing with some banking. So he came out. He goes, "Coach." He goes, "We go, Coach." I go, "Oh, well, there you are. Where you been?" And he sat down. And he goes, you know, it's too good to be true." So what's the question I asked, Cody? What's too good to be true? Okay, that's a good one. I said, is that a reason not to do something? Do something? It's too good to be true. I said, so therefore, because you believe it's not too good to be true, you don't formulate your questions to get the answers to it, so you just form that. I mean, if that's the case, then now I understand why some people make it and most people don't, because you stop yourselves. Unbelievable. How stupid is that attitude? You got to fix that. So if you have a too good to be true attitude, it's too good to be true, man, if you don't ask questions, you'll never know. I find it too good to be true that you don't know. How's that one? Cody, did you get it? I find it too good to be true that people don't have common sense when it comes to their own finances. The very thing you're working for is what? Adrian, what is it? Money. And it's the very thing you know the least about. If you're going to work for money, why don't you understand it? It understands you. How many of you feel abused because you don't have enough of it? Hello? All right. Right. See, money works for you. Instead, you're all working for it. So we're going to change that tonight. Does that make sense to you, Sean? Yes. I just like how he put that. Good. Then, listen to this one. I'm talking to this kid, and women, you know, women are like bats. No offense, all you women in TV land are listening to this too, because we have guests on our right now listening from different locations of the country. And so I said, women are like bats in that. Don't you always, you're doing what you're doing, but you're always listening to the conversation down the street, and you can hear it. Yeah, well, guess what? Is that true or true? Women they're leaners, man. They just listen and you eavesdrop on everything. Women have bad habits like that. I heard what he said. So anyway, this lady was a teacher. And how did I know that? Because I'm getting up leaving. She goes, "Oh, this is what she says. Are you going to give a motivational talk or something?" That's what she says. And I go, "What?" She goes, "Are you going I heard what you said." I go, "Oh, really?" I said, "That was motivational." "Yeah, it kind of motivated me." She goes, "I'm a kindergarten teacher." I go, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "You got a 403B?" She goes, "No, I got a pension." I go, "Really?" "Oh, yeah, I didn't go for the 403B. I said, "That's good." And then I started asking her a lot of questions. She didn't get one answer right. She totally doesn't believe a thing. And then she tells me, "Well, my grandmother, she's 93. She's got a pension from the day she taught, and she's still getting money today." I said, "Yeah, it sounds like my son. He works for the state, and he's a commie pinko, and he's in the pension fund too. And or no, it gets his 401k. He had a choice, but you see, in one of the systems, the market last year returned to like almost 26%. He made 3. She goes, oh, the market's risky. 3! Miss, did you hear me say 3 versus 26? Oh, it's very risky. You're probably right. She goes, you know, you live in Naples, don't you? You're just like a Naples guy. I go, what does that mean? She goes, oh, I'm from the South, and, you know, all the Naples people like you are all like, see, she was actually taking a shot at me. See, because she didn't understand anything. Yet she was intrigued, and she's going to keep her little pension fund. And I asked her a question. I said, who owns it all? What'd she say to me, right? Like, Jeff, when I ask you, Jeff, you got a retirement account? Well, you do. That's interesting to know that. So who owns your account? See, I love that because he knows I'm asking too. He's going, where the hell is he coming with this thing? See, I asked him, Sean, do you have a retirement account? No. Oh, you're not going to retire? No, I'm not. Oh, you do now? Okay. Will you stop coaching them? In TV land, we have knuckleheads in the audience. They bring guests and they want to protect them, so they bump me. Oh, yes, you do right now. Okay. Now, my point is, though, when you talk to anybody, Jeff, in corporate America, most people, and here's the ignorance again, okay, and I'm going over a little bit in my description, but I want you to know my frustration with the people because we are so arrogant with ourselves and attitudes about what we know and what we don't know. It's sickening to me. So the opportunity is alive and well because all we got to do is go educate people. A or B. That's what we do. We don't sell anything here. We replace everything. And in saying that, Jeff, most people get jobs, and sometimes we have packed houses, and you hear a lot of people, oh, yeah, I got a job, and when I go get a job, when you got a job, how many of you filled out employment papers? Great. And you know what they did? They shoved it in just for your 401k. Here, Phil says, great, need to do it. Oh, okay, 401k, and then you sign away. Am I right or right? Yet you didn't ask one question about it. You have no idea how it works. You don't know who's know nothing, and it's only your retirement account. So here's what we say, Jeff. We go to people, I go, listen, on your account, who owns that? And they go, well, I do. How much of it? All of it. Well, if I prove to you that you don't hardly own any of it, would you want to know? Yeah? And who I own it? Really? Well, let me ask you a simple question. When it's time for you to take it, here's the question I asked. Jeff, when it's time for you to take it, who gets the first cut? Uncle Sam. Oh, can you say it again? Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam. So, but you think you own it? So really, who owns it? You or Uncle Sam? Sounds like it's on. Oh, part of it now. Well, and let me get it again. Who gets the first cut? He does. So who's on first dibs? He does. Okay, that's how I look at it. See, if it was my money, I want first dibs. Am I right or right? Right. Then, by the way, who's managing it? Morgan Stanley. Oh, Broker Joe. Okay, so let me get this straight now. So Uncle Sam gets their money first, then you give Broker Joe money. Who has all the risk? I do. Oh, I'm struggling with this. Wait a minute. You got all the risk, yet you give all your money to Broker Joe. You pay him. He gets his cut. Does he have any risk? No. No. And then who gets the first cut? Then who comes in line? Me. Oh, so you're a third part owner. I get it. See, if people started understanding what they were doing with the money, they'd freak out. See, and you all need to freak out because you got to learn how to make your money work for you. Am I making sense here? So it's about your retirement. And here's the deal. When I was a kid, I don't know, I guess I'm the oldest guy in the room, so I don't want to admit that. But we had a dream of always being retired. Now, how young are you, sir, in the middle? You're in the middle. Yeah, how old are you? 20. You even know what retirement is? 20, or he ain't thinking of retiring. He's thinking about getting a job. Now, and sir, and what's your name, sir? What is it? Toloji. Nice to meet you. How are you? And good. How young are you? Oh my goodness. See, and what do you think you're going to do for the rest of your life? All right, kick off my business. There's a dreamer. I like that. And what's your name, sir? Hi, Ashton. How are you? And how young are you? You're all embarrassing me. What the heck, Jeff? Well, you want to get closer to these guys, right? 21, 20. You're trying to add their ages together to make yourself feel a little bit better. Right. That's very good. So you're going to learn the fundamentals of money. And I'm just tell you how frustrating it is to hear people's attitudes with stuff they don't know. Ignorance will keep you broke. How many people agree with that statement? Okay. After tonight, you can't be ignorant. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody in here needs what we do. That's how important it is. It's you and your family. I challenge everyone. In fact, I'll make you bet right now. Okay, I'll put up 100 grand tonight, and I'll write out a check in your name. And I know you don't have if you don't have the 100 grand, don't worry. I'll take a lien on you forever. I'm a businessman, so I'll own you forever, and I'll put a contract on you, so I get it. Okay, and any other property you have, I'll put a lien on that too, because I'm going to win. okay? You need to make money work for you instead of you for it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And let me tell you this up front. 9 out of 10 people we talk to don't spend a dime out of their pocket. That's how good this company is in power. So without any further ado, we're going to have a whole bunch of speakers give you different parts of the session to orientate you. And what we're going to do is go over and teach you how the rules of the money game works. And that's Byron, right? Byron, you giving it, Byron? Or Garrett? Who's doing it? Garrett? So Garrett Coe is going to come up and give the presentation on the Rule 72. So take notes and have fun with it. Please welcome Garrett.
Oh, you're doing 72, right? All right, well, guys. Well, I'm just going to give a brief little introduction about who we are, what are we, where we came from, and has anybody ever seen magazines? They're called Consumer Reports. They see them they're in public, right? And that's why they came to section. Well, that's exactly kind of what we are. We're a consumer advocacy company. We've been in business for a couple of years now, and basically what we do is that these Consumer Reports magazines are right here, by the way. They basically they take a product in a certain industry and they analyze it. They break it all down. So say you got a cell phone, right? So they're going to take your Androids, your iPhones, your LGs, and they're going to break it all down. They're going to figure out, hey, what's the best bang for your buck? What's your best deal that you can go get with all these new phones? Because they're always changing, updating all the time. So they're going to take it. They're going to analyze all the different stuff. And they're going to say, hey, here's your best bang for your buck. Here's your, your fastest phone. Here's the one that's got the biggest, RAM space. Here's the one that's got coolest features, all the cool games on it. So that way you can go read this magazine that's, featuring phones this month, and you can figure out that's the phone I want to go buy. Right? Well, we actually deal with finance. We deal with, the money business. And this one is a September 2013 Consumer Report magazine. It's all about growing your savings. It's all about money. Here's this month's October 2014. Up top it says retirement reality check. And so they're talking about money, which is exactly what we got in the business in, which is consumer advocacy for finance, for money. Because it's the one thing we all work really hard for, and it's something that we all want more of, right? And so that's where we got our start. We got to start actually in the energy business, which propelled us into the consumer advocate kind of mindset, which was figuring out, hey, what's the best bang for your buck in the energy world? Because deregulation happened. Deregulation, I can get this thing to clip off here. Anyways, deregulation happens. It happened in the airline industry. It happened with the phone business a long time ago. And it basically just creates competition for the consumer. It's good for the consumer. It creates competition. It allows other businesses to come in and offer the same service, but they can offer a different rate. It's kind of like if you were Publix is the only shopping, the only grocery store in all of Naples. It's the only place you can go to buy your groceries. Well, deregulation happened and said, hey, Publix, you're a monopoly. You're not giving anybody choice and options to go shop around. So then they introduced Winn-Dixie, and then CVS, and then Walgreens, and then Walmart and Target, where they all offer the same kind of similar products, but you can go shop around now. It's kind of like buying a carton of eggs from Publix is $3 as opposed to $2.50 over at Winn-Dixie. You decide to go to Winn-Dixie because it's cheaper, right? Well, that's happened in the energy world. It's now deregulated in 14 different states. It's going state by state. And one day we'll be down here in Florida, hopefully, but it's it's a whole big process behind that, very political. But in 14 different states right now, you basically can go in if you pay an electric bill, which the majority of us have electric, right? And you go on and you can go and kind of shop around. What does that mean is that you can come to us. We represent a few different agencies. Instead of paying FP&L down here, you have the option of paying FP&L, Summer Energy, Ryan's Energy Service, and you can kind of shop around and just figure out, hey, what's the best bang for the buck, what's the cheapest rate, right? So that's what got us in the energy business, and that propelled us into what we call utility audits, which is Utility Advocate. Utility Advocate was a company that we partnered with. They're a consumer advocacy company, and they work with businesses. And because energy is valued in everybody's life, so if it's a personal residence or a business residence, you still have to have energy. And that's what these guys did, except they brought a few more products to the table. And they brought merchant accounts to the table. They brought telecom services to the table, which is telecom services is your internet, your phone bill, and your cable bill. And then the merchant accounts is every time a credit card is swiped, a credit card transaction. Well, what they did is that they shopped around for a business. So say, Cody, you own the business, you know, you had a merchant account that charges a certain percentage on every credit card transaction. Well, Utility Advocate would go in and represent a bunch of different agencies going in and say, hey, we're going to shop around on your behalf to figure out, make sure you're not being overcharged in any kind of way, and you're not being taken advantage of, and you're getting the best bang for your buck, right? So they did that with your merchant account, so they were able to save overhead cost reduction on your credit cards, you know, every time you swipe a credit card transaction, and then every time you went into, you know, your internet bill, you know, your phone bill and your cable bill. Technology is constantly changing. I mean, we have Comcast where I live, we had DirecTV, you know, there's a bunch of different stuff that's going on. They're always updating that. They're always getting faster service for cheaper rates. And so if that was the case, if you had a business that was maybe a couple years old and you had old, outdated service, but you're entitled to an update, that's one of the things we look at. We're going to update you. We're not business switching anything, but making sure you have the best service possible, right? So that's what got us into, you know, the second branch, which was Utility Advocate, which is the, you know, overhead cost reduction. And that got us into there we go, so back. That's got us into debt, the debt service. We get it come up, but that got us into debt, right? So we started doing this for, you know, the energy for personal service. Then we got into the businesses saying, you know, hey, we did energy for personal, then we do energy for business, but then we brought some other stuff to the table with Utility Advocate, allowing us to do merchant accounts, stuff like that. And then we got a little bit more personal, saying, hey, you know, people are in debt. It's running rampant. It's the biggest disease in America is debt. And everybody gets into debt, but nobody knows how to get out of debt. They don't ever meet it, but it's one of those tough things, and it's just understanding how it all works, right? So we, as Empower, have this computer program, this system we call GPS system, which is debt-free solutions with results first. And what is that doing is that a GPS system, when you go driving on a long distance road trip, you know, if you're going to take a trip up in Tallahassee, if I'm driving to see my family up in North Florida, I have a GPS. I have it on the phone. It's sitting right there on the dashboard, and it's telling me every direction, every turn, where to go, how many miles I have left, how much time I have left, so I reach my destination, right? So the ultimate destination in personal life is getting to eventual retirement, being debt-free. You know, we don't want to have the thumb put down on us, right? So that's exactly kind of what we structured here, which is a GPS system for your personal life and finance. So you plug in everything you're currently doing, whatever you're doing every single month. You know, if you're in debt, you know, student loans, credit cards, car loans, mortgages, no matter what your debt is, you plug it into this program, and it takes out, you know, with your monthly income, and it's just using mathematics and algorithms to calculate the most efficient way to get you out of debt and getting you to your ultimate destination, which is being debt-free. So it's kind of like, you know, when compared to the GPS system, which you're plugging in your information, where you want to be, and what's going on in the middle from your starting point, and it just zigzags and weaves you through life, and it gets you to your ultimate destination to, you know, being debt-free and personal retirement. And it's this is actually really cool. It's one of our newest branches that's actually been in the business for a long time, but really kind of made our ways with Empower. And we're seeing people pay off 27-year mortgages in 4.9 years. And 4.9 years, I mean, it's not just a mortgage, but it's completely debt-free. You know, credit cards, car loans, everything, completely debt-free. And then what are you doing, you know, after 5 years being completely debt-free is that you're paying yourself first. And that's exactly what this program's all about, which is making you the most important person in your life, paying yourself first, and getting you to the ultimate, you know, destination and goal, which is our financial services bracket, which is all about, you know, getting yourself out of debt, paying yourself first, making yourself the most important person before your energy bill, before your car payment, before your, you know, your student loan, that you're the most important person. And, you know, it's hard for us to think about, hey, you know, how am I going to pay myself, put something towards my savings if I'm not going to have a house to live in? Well, it's all about figuring out. It's all about math, and it's all about calculating the most efficient way to do that. And like I said, you know, Steve said this before, it's 9 out of 10 of our people, they don't spend any extra money out of their pocket. It's all about what they're doing and allocating it towards the right direction, putting it to the appropriate places, which is our ultimate goal of personal retirement. Now, this is our financial services website. It's all talks about, you know, investing and where we're putting money and how it works, and making money work for you instead of you working for it. And there's a lot to that. You know, when people talk about, you know, finances, they think about retirement, 401k, 403, TSAs, you know, a lot of different stuff, IRAs, Roth IRAs, annuities, variable annuities, life insurance. There's a lot of stuff that's behind it. There's a lot of information. And before we go into anything that we have to talk about, is, of all this detailed number K's and B's and all that stuff. We just have to learn the basic principle of money. And the basic principle of money is something called the Rule 72, which is what every financial institution in America uses. If you have any sort of interest rate on anything, if you have a credit card, does anybody in here have a credit card? I know Ryan's got a credit card, and Cody's got a credit card, Sean's got a credit card, C's got a credit card, right? So you think about what your interest rate is. It could be anywhere between, low percentage, maybe 5, all the way up to 20, 30%, right? And so if you ever wanted to calculate it out, how long it's going to take for your money to double, you use something called the Rule 72. It's an interest rate calculation. And for that, I'm going to bring Paul on up. It's one of the basic things created by Albert Einstein, and it's really cool and exciting. And this is going to kind of launch us into the financial talk and the really crunch the numbers. So hang on, we're going to go quick, we're going to go fast, but Paul, thank you. Welcome on up.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Paul.
Thank you. Computer's running a little slow tonight, guys. Bear with us. All right, so we're going to go over the first rule of money, and this is how money doubles. And to get that, you're going to take your interest rate. Let's say your standard bank account has an interest rate of about 0.2 to 0.5%. You say 0.5%, you're going to get your money doubled in about 144 years. You get that by dividing 72 by 0.5. So no, it's real simple. And it's a lot easier. We'll say make a much easier interest rate of 2%. You get your money to double every 36 years, dividing 72 by 2. It's real simple. So, Blochi, if you have $5 grand, what are you going to do with that money to keep it safe? Don't put it in the bank. All right. Most people would say, I'm going to start, open up a savings account, right? You go to your nearest bank, and they're going to give you that 0.2 to 0.5, maybe 30 free iPod. But we're going to say maybe you have a long-term CD. This is where you put your money somewhere 5 years at least, and maybe you get 2%. Lucky if you don't touch it. So we're going to say, real nice bank over here. They're going to give you 2%. You're going to go there with your $5 grand. And really simply, we're going to show you how long it takes that $5 grand to double out. 36 years, your money's going to grow to 10 grand. Really easy. 5,000, doubling to 10 grand. And then another 36 years, we're going to show you that 10 grand now turns into 20,000. Real easy math, real simple numbers. And now it's going to get a little more complicated, all right? So I'm going to open up my own bank, and I'm going to be that nice guy, and I'm going to say, hey, I'll give you 6% on your money. And you're going to say, wow, 6%. I can't even get that if I'm lucky with a stockbroker, So you're going to take that same 6% and you're going to divide it by 70, or divide 72 by 6, and then it's going to give you 12. That's 12 years for your money to double on top of itself. So that same $5 grand, it's going to take 12 years to double into 10 grand, and then we're going to proceed on from there. So we're cutting the doubling time way down here, all the way in 1/3, and we're tripling the interest rate. So we're going to go ahead and watch this double out on top of itself. You already had that same 20 grand in less than half the time you did it over here at the age of 95. So we're getting really good there. And you're going to double it out again another 12 years, the age of 59. Another 12 years, you're at the age of 71, you got $80,000. Another 12 years, you got that 160 grand. Another 12 years, finally at 95, you have $320,000, an additional 300 grand to what you're getting over here in your average savings account on steroids. So we're going to go ahead now, and I'm going to say, I'm going to be, real nice banker and give you an average rate of return that we see in the stock market, around 8%. So you take that same $5,000, and we're now taking 3 years off of your doubling period, because you divide 72 by 8, it's going to give you 9. So 9 is how many years it's going to take for your money to double. Look, what do you think you're going to have at the age of 95 over here at 8%? Without using your calculator. Just take a guess. 500 grand? All right, Ashton, what do you think you're going to have? Just real quick. 100,000? All right. I don't know why you would say that. Jeff, what do you think I have over here? I know you're a smart guy. Don't make me look bad.
I'm going to say around 500,000.
All right, 500 grand. Being the nice banker I am, I'm going to sign a contract. You guys can all have your money. And the deal is I get to keep the rest because that's how the bank works. So we're gonna go ahead and play with your money here and double out your 5,000 in 9 years. Now you got 10 grand. Another 9 years, you're at the age of 41 with 20,000. You're already seeing a 6-year jump from the middle column at 6%. So another 9 years now, we're gonna go up to the age of 50 with 40 grand. Another 9 years at 59 with $80,000. Ashton, there's 60 grand for me. I don't know why you said 100,000, but age 68, got you already. 77, we got 320,000. 86, 640,000. Now I'm in the money with everybody. And then last my way to the bank, $1.28 million, just shy of $1.3 million. So what happens is the bank is giving you $20,000 off your 5 grand, and then over here, what they're getting, $1.26 million. Does that sound fun to you guys? No, right? You guys pretty mad about that. That's where everyone's putting their money over here. Not even getting 2%. That's where everybody's at. So now, this was obviously a perfect world. Well, I was gonna ask you guys, A or B? You know, everyone's gonna pick B. $1.3 million compared to 20 grand. That's really easy. So we like to call that legalized extortion, meaning theft. Banks stealing everybody's money, and you know, no one really does anything about it because they don't know. So now we're going to show you what happens, and we're going to do the same rule of 72. You know, showing you how interest works, and then now we're going to show you what happens if you lose money. So we're not in a perfect world. We're not getting that same 2%, 6%, or 8% a year. We're going to actually have a year where the value goes down. So we're going to show you that the 5% loss we're going to show is really a lot more than 5% because of the way interest compounds on itself over time. All right. We're gonna make it real easy. No hard math. 7.2%, 72 divided by 7.2 gives you 10 years. All right, guys, I'm not a math wizard, and I can figure that one out. So we're gonna take $1,000 and we're gonna double it out over the course of 10 years and show you the increase year by year, 7.2%. So we're finally at year 10. You got two grand over here. Real easy. So now this is gonna be, we're gonna show you a 5% loss in year number 2. And you're going to see what the outcome is at the end of year 10. So right here, you got 5% loss versus 1,149. You now have 1,018 with 5% loss. And now we're going to continue to double it out or compound it out at 7.2% over the rest of these 8 years. So you're going to get down here to year 10, and you're going to see that the value that you have is now $1,776 on the right versus 2 grand. And I can tell you that that's a lot more than 5%. It's 11.4%. And people don't realize that because you say, oh, I lost 5%. If it goes up 5%, I'll gain it right back. But that's not true because that 5% you're gaining back is on a lower value. You know, 5% of 100 is 5,000. 5% of 95, it's like maybe 4,200 or something like that, you know? But it's not 5 grand, so you don't have to get your whole money back. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and show you an example of a retirement plan. And for that, I'm going to bring up Trey Carter. Who's coming? Ryan?
Yeah. Sure.
All right.
Right. We'll play that.
All right, we're just going to play a little video for you real quick just to kind of put some of this into perspective for you. Because you can see how detrimental a loss is when we're talking about being in the market and being at risk. And when you're saving for your future, you're worried about your nest egg being there for you when you're ready to retire, you got to be concerned about that loss because you're never getting it back ever. Never. And just before I play this real quick, Warren Buffett. Does anybody know Warren Buffett in here? Some couple people. He's one of the most successful investors of all time. And his #1 rule of money is never lose money. And his #2 rule of money is see rule #1. So if you're losing money, that's a bad thing. We don't ever want to do that if we don't have to. And exactly the reason for that is exactly what you're about to see right now. Because you don't want to be in a situation like this. If it works.
It's going slow.
Yeah, this thing is sluggish today.
When I was younger, I never thought about retirement. Never entered my mind. even to this very day, I'm still shocked that I'm in the position that I'm in.
I really never had any savings, and I was contributing to the 401k at my job. And when I got fired, I had to take some of that money just to live.
I'd be seriously begin saving when I was in my 60s. I'm sorry I didn't start a lot earlier. But nothing ever works out the way you planned it.
When I got into my early 50s, all of a sudden, I started realizing I'm never going to be able to retire. I want to retire because, first of all, as I said, I did not have a career. I had a job.
People that I know, my friends, they're in their families already. And
I can't save for retirement right now with what I'm earning.
Over the last 10 years, I've had to really reinvent myself. So I applied for university in the city. I was accepted, and now I'm living off of student loans. I'm probably going to be in debt for well over, close to $200,000. And I honestly don't think I'll ever be able to repay that.
I have quite a few friends the same age as me that are trying to either reinvent themselves, trying to find a job. It's very hard over 50 to find a full-time job, and they're all struggling. We joke around that we may all live communal to make ends meet when we get older, because it's tough.
I sold some furniture. I had a friend pay me to paint their apartment. You know, I'm doing whatever I can do.
Okay. So, it's back down.
So that was a pretty dire situation that those people were in, don't you think?
Yeah.
What'd you notice about the video?
There's a new watch on the market, the Cat
Thing sometimes.
smartwatch. It's designed to help women on the go track their fine.
Okay, there we go. So what did we notice about that video? Anyone? Trey, what did you notice about the video?
They're all old.
They're all old people. All of them.
Careful, your audience.
There's only two really old people in here.
Jeff was in that video.
We like to pick on people in here. So the point is, they're right where they're supposed to be when they have the biggest amount of money. Do they have that right now? Absolutely not. Why is that? Because they didn't know the right things to do with their money. Maybe they got hit with a huge loss. We saw what happened. And just for an example's sake, we're going to look at what the market actually did in the last 12 years. Why are people in that situation right now? So Paul, I'll have you read out. This is an example. This is 2000 to 2012, the actual returns of the S&P 500. Does anybody know what the S&P 500 is? Trey knows.
I don't know.
You know? Okay, so the S&P 500 is a market index. And what a market index is, it's a kind of a barometer that shows you how the market's doing. And it's a number that's produced that shows you the S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the country right now. So the ones that do the most business out of anybody. So they take those 500 companies and they give you an average number of the returns that those companies are doing. Now those companies own about 80% of the wealth going through the country right now because they're the wealthiest that there is. And that being said, it does provide a good indicator of how the United States is doing. There's other indexes like the Dow Jones, which is 30 companies in 6 different industries. So that is a similar index that's supposed to tell us how the United States is doing. But the most common, powerful one that's used today is the S&P 500. Is that pretty clear? Yeah. Okay. Good. So this is the S&P 500. So basically, the stock market. This is how it did over the last what is that? 12 years. And starting in 2000, so Paul, can you read at least the first three for me?
Negative 10.14, negative 13.4, and negative 23.37.
All right, stop right there. So did everybody hear that? No, that's negative 10, negative 13, negative 23, right? So we're talking about a 5% loss right here, and you saw that 5% actually equals 11.4, right? So when you're talking about negative 23%, what do you think that means? That's a loss that's far more significant than 5 or even 11. When you compound that out, that loss, you're never getting that money back ever. It'll take you years to recover from that one single loss. So then the market bounces back in 2003 a little bit, 26%. So it lost 23 and then it gained 26. Do you think they got all their money back when it bounced back? No. Just think about it. If you were to gain 100% of your money, you got 100% return. You had $100 in the bank. You get 100% that year. You have 200, right? If you lose 50% the next year, how much do you have?
100.
You have 100. You're right back where you started. Your average return is what? 25%. So they're going to say you just gained 25%, but really you gained $0. So you can see that the percentage of gains and losses aren't always what they seem, and a negative is much worse than anybody really generally thinks. So then we go up 8%, we get 3% the next year, we get 13 the next year, we get so literally almost 40% of people's life savings, everybody in that video lost 40% of everything they've saved for their entire life. And so there's no reason we should wonder why they're in that situation, except that they had their money in the wrong place and they weren't doing the right things to protect themselves from that kind of loss, especially being that they were that far along in saving. So now we're going to show you an example of what a real life retirement plan looks like. And you saw that the market, not only did it lose double-digit negatives almost every time, but one year was a 0 and 4 of them were the double-digit negatives. So 5 of those years are losing years. 0 is a loss because you still got to think about inflation. And if you actually calculate inflation into this, those 3% years, which there were 2 of them, they actually equal 0 too, because inflation's around 3% on average. So really, there was actually, when you think about it, 7 years that were not good at all within the last 12. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take somebody who's 35 years old. They're going to save every year with $500 per month, and they're going to get a 10% return on their money. So if you remember the rule of 72, 10% is pretty good. The market average is around a little over 9%. We're just using 10 to be simple. It's kind of ridiculous. If you're getting 10% every year, that's great. You're beating the market every year, which generally will never happen. But $500 per month for 30 years at 10%, what do you think you're going to have? Just take a guess, random guess.
For how many years?
For 30 years. So 500 a month would be
$6 grand a year.
$6 grand a year.
Probably 2 million.
2 million? Not a bad guess at all. You're sitting right at almost $1.8 million. And that's with the compounding effect of money growing at 10% per year. In a perfect world. Remember, Rule 72, we just said, perfect world, you get that same gain every year. And when a broker shows you what you're going to get on your retirement account, they're going to say, okay, putting $500 away every year, getting the market average around 8% is what they'll run. You're going to be, your money will look like this after 30 years when you want to pull it out and retire. Because that's how money works, right? That's what they're going to show you and tell you. What they're not going to tell you is what reality actually is. Because we've got a lot of things to deal with here. One of them is market loss, which we all just saw as a serious issue that we got to pay attention to, right? So here, in 30 years, we're going to only use the example of a 1 year loss of 5% and another loss of 10%. Sorry. So 2 years of loss within 30 years. Is that pretty ridiculous to even say that? Everybody agree that that's super conservative?
Yep.
Meaning that in the last 12, we had 7 years that were pretty bad. So the second thing that we got to think about is Broker Joe. We already talked about him a little bit. You're paying somebody to manage your money this whole entire time. And the average fees and commissions on a qualified account is anywhere from 3 to 5%, with a minimum of 12 different fees and a maximum of 17. And these are non-disclosed, so people don't even realize they're getting charged ridiculous amounts of money to get this money managed. When who carries all the risk? You remember?
You do.
We carry all the risk. Broker Joe is having a great time because you're paying his salary and he's playing with your money with no consequence to him whatsoever. So ridiculously low market loss. And we're going to cut the fees and commissions in half. So let's say Broker Joe is only getting 1.5% when the average is 3 to 5. The next thing we got to think about is taxes, because who gets the first cut? Jeff said it before. Uncle Sam gets the first cut. So taxes, 25%. That's the middle tax bracket, if that's where you're at. So just a moderate estimate there. So ridiculously conservative on market loss, cutting fees and commissions in half, and doing an average middle of the road tax bracket. What is that $1.7 million going to look like? Anybody take a guess? You got to guess, Jeff. Let's see it.
I'm gonna say $365,000.
$365,000. All right. And what was your name again? Sean. Sean, that's right. Sorry. What's your guess, Sean?
I'm gonna go 800,000.
800,000. Asia? We got a 3. We got an 8. I mean, something.
Play the question right. Get right.
You're gonna say 5? $588,000. Obviously, I let you right to it, right?
Showcase, right?
Yeah. Door prize goes to Asia. There really is no door prize, so don't get too excited. $588,000. Now you still have $588,000, right? Not too shabby. What you're not thinking about is that you just gave and paid others $1.2 million. Sean, is that okay with you? No. I don't think so either. I'm not okay with giving somebody else $1.2 million. If you're going to go do that, please, by all means, give it to me because I could use it. I really would like to go on some nice vacations. But $1.8 million down to $588, and you're throwing $1.2 million out the window for no reason other than you don't know how to deal with taxes. You're not in control of the market, and you're paying Broker Joe whether he wins or loses when he has no risk and you take it all on. And to me, that doesn't sound like a very smart plan. I don't think so. I'm not into giving $1.2 million away, but if you are, by all means, give it to me. So what do we do about this? We're in a situation where now we got to figure out, we're dealing with market loss, we're dealing with fees and commissions, we're dealing with taxes. How do we plan for the future so we don't throw away all that money? How do we protect ourselves from all that? So what we like to talk about is a strategy that I call the Bear Bryant strategy, because we always talk about his famous quote, and we use it in rugby all the time. Bear Bryant was the famous head coach of Alabama, and he said, offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. And that quote kind of stuck with us, especially because of what's going on in the economy right now. So first off, we're going to employ a defensive strategy, and apologies in advance for my handwriting because it's terrible.
You're a scientist.
Yeah, doctors, scientists, nobody, they know they have bad handwriting. So what we want to defend against is, number one, market loss, right? If we don't have to lose money, like Warren Buffett said, we don't want to lose any money. We want to protect our savings because we work so hard for it, and we don't want to throw it all away. I like gambling for fun, but not with my life savings.
Hey, read that.
M-A-R-K might be work.
Merit? Merit loss or market loss. Then we're talking about fees and commissions. Broker Joe is a jerk, and I don't like him very much. If you like him, you can continue to pay him, but I choose not to. So that's one thing we want to try to minimize and eliminate if we can. Fees and commissions. Next one is taxes. Uncle Sam, we always say, I love my country, but I hate my uncle. And I don't want to pay him more than I absolutely have to. And if there's ways to pay him less, that's great, because I'm the most important person in my life, not Uncle Sam. Now, with that, we're trying to defend ourselves against all these things, but we still need to have an offensive strategy because it's important to succeed and be able to be comfortable in retirement. Because if you're not making the market gains that you need, you're not going to make it to the point where you can survive off your retirement income. So we need to be able to provide that too. And with that, number one on offense is growth. I spelled that right. Yes, I did. Growth. Why do we need growth? Because we need enough money in that account when we want to retire to be able to provide ourselves with an income, right? We need income. That's the whole purpose of saving this money for retirement. We want to be able to live off the money that we save because we're either not going to be able to work or we're really not going to want to. I don't want to. I don't want to work longer than I have to. But in a lot of cases, we're not going to be able to also due to health issues. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Safety. We want to protect our life savings because nobody else is doing it for us. Safety is important because we don't want to lose it in the market. We don't want to give it away to somebody else. And we want to make sure it's there for us when we go to retire. Because those people in that video, I don't know if you remember, they are down and out. What are they going to do? That lady's going to be painting houses for her friends for the rest of her life until she drowns in a bucket of paint.
Yeah, roll over and die.
Oh yeah, something's going to happen to her. She's too old. So safety, we got to protect our money so we don't lose it. Number 4, if we can provide it.
Tough one.
There you go. You
Yeah,
nailed it.
that threw me for a loop there. It's been a long day. Liquidity. I'm dehydrated. That's why I spelled that wrong.
Let's go to safety.
Yeah, that liquidity. Yeah, I spelled safety wrong.
And
too.
offensive.
Jeez. This isn't a spelling class. So get over it.
Spelled it wrong.
This is why I'm using PowerPoint from now on.
You have a master's in what?
Not spelling. So liquidity, what does that mean? That means that my money is liquid and I can use it whenever I want it or need it. If you work for your money, right?
Yeah.
And if you need it and want it, you want to be able to get to it, right? So in qualified accounts, when you put your money away, it's locked in there until you're 59 and a half years old. So if you want to use your money before 59 and a half, good old Uncle Sam says, hey, yeah, you can grab some of that only under certain situations. And if you do, oh, by the way, you're going to have to pay taxes on that too. So literally, if you were to take $10,000 out of a qualified account, say you wanted to buy a house for your family, not only would you have to pay 25% tax on it, so now you're down to $7,500, right? They're going to hit you with another 10% penalty on that. So you're down to $6,500. So to get $6,500, you got to take out 10 grand. Does that sound like a good deal?
No.
Not at all. So why would I not make my money liquid if I could do it? You can access it whenever I want, for whatever reason I want, anytime. No penalties, no taxes, my money, I'll use it when I want it and need it. That's what I want to do. Number 5, safety, liquidity. We want to provide tax efficiency. So they always say that there's 2 things you can't escape in life, and it's death and it's taxes. Tax is the second one. So I'm going to try to be as efficient as I can when thinking about having to pay taxes. And in most cases, you do have to pay the taxes. And I said most because we are able, in some of the vehicles that we talk about, to provide tax-free growth and income in retirement. So death and taxes, the only things you can't avoid. You can avoid taxes. It's there's tax evasion and there's tax avoidance. Tax evasion is illegal. You can't do that. You'll go to jail for a long time. Tax avoidance, you can do that if you're smart enough to know the rules of the money game and figure out how to do it. Luckily, we already figured that out, so we're going to talk about that right now. So how do we do that? How do we go get all these things? We have to employ strategies that go along with our offensive and defensive strategies so that we can take advantage of what's available to us. So one of the things that we work with Empower, is it okay if I raise the offense?
Yep.
Ready to go with that? Need some more room here. So we work with a product called an IUL. And just like we said before, technology changes all the time, right? Right, Trey? You buy a cell phone, and a week later, there's a new cell phone. Does everybody have an iPhone 6 in here? Oh, look at that. One. Everybody else got the old ones. Not as good as that one. Old, antiquated, out of date, doesn't work as well, not as fast, not as good, right? Don't you all feel bad about your iPhone 4S?
Yeah.
It sucks, right? You want the iPhone 6, don't you, if you can get it? 6 plus, 6 plus.
It'll be outdated next month.
Yeah, it probably will be. And the point is, technology changes all the time, not just in cell phones, not just in computers, but also in the financial sector. So there's new products that are available, things change, and what we work with is called an IUL. IUL is called Indexed Universal Life. Indexed, I'm going to do my best here. Universal, I'm going to abbreviate that, life. Okay, I'm trying to do my best here. So what an IUL is, it's a financial product, and it does 3 things. The first thing it does is it gives you life insurance. And that's a disgusting subject. Nobody likes to talk about it. Sure, it's whatever. 2, living benefits. And that's a big one, and I'm going to have Trey come up and talk about that in just a minute. And 3, tax-free retirement.
Until you die.
So, tax-free retirement, that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about building our nest egg, protecting it, saving it, making it tax efficient, not giving $1.2 million away. What's the best way to do that? This is the best way to do that. How do I know that? We've done the research. I've researched everything available, and nothing does what an IUL does for people's retirement accounts. And it's our crusade to share that with everyone, educate them on what is available, because this is relatively new. So let me show you this red line, blue line right here. Red line, we talked about the S&P 500, right? Red line here is the S&P 500. So this goes from the past 15 years, from 1997 all the way to 2000. So it stops 2 years ago. But if you had $100,000 and you put it in the market in 97 and you left it there the whole time in the S&P 500, you would have, by 2012, $165,830. So you went from $100,000 to $165,830. Does anybody feel good about that? You gained money. Why would you feel good about that, right? You're on top. That's $65,000 you didn't have before, right? Feels good, right? No, everybody's shaking their head. You don't want $65,000? All right. I get you catching on to the point. I get it. So what's happening here? We always tease the women, age 34, so you get it. We always tease them because the market, we already said that it goes up and down all the time. We already saw that loss happens. There was 7 years that were no good whatsoever in the last 12, and you can see that right here in this red line. So it goes up and it goes down and it goes up, and what does it do?
Goes down.
And it goes down and it goes up, and then what happens?
Goes down.
Oh man, you guys are catching on to this. By the way, this is right now. The market's hitting records. It's been hitting records. It was hitting records every day for a while. So you can see where we are now, and I already heard you guys can guess what's going to happen next.
Yep.
So that's one thing we're prepared for. Now, in looking at this red line, you start with 100, you end with 165, but what we're not talking about is this number right here. What still has to happen to this? Reality, right? So what are the 3 things we talked about before? We talked about market loss, and we already get that through this whole thing. What's number 2? Anybody? Fees and commissions. So if you've got to pay Broker Joe 3% every single year over a period of 15 years on 100,000, that's 3,000 per year times 15. That equals 65,000, $45,000. So that's 3% every year on 100,000, 15 years, $45,000. 65 minus 45 is $120,000. You're still in the green, right? Cool. You got $20,000 extra dollars. What do you need to know? Oh, but you already still got $20,000. But wait a minute, we're not done yet, though, right? There's one more thing we didn't talk about. What's the last part? Taxes, right? So you're at 120, then you got to take another 25% off, which 25% of $100,000 is $25,000. Really, we're on a higher number than that. What?
We're at 30,000.
30,000. Huh?
30,095.
So $30,000 minus that again, and what are you left with? You're left with less than what you started with. About 90,000 or less. Really, in reality, it's less than that. So literally, you put your money away for 12 years with the intention of growing it so that you can one day retire, and you ended up with less than what you started with. Does that sound like a good plan? I don't think so. So we provide an alternative to that. We don't want to deal with any of that. So that's what we're talking about in this blue line. This blue line is the IUL. What an IUL says is, 1, it gives you life insurance, 2, living benefits, 3, tax-free retirement, and 4, it guarantees you that you'll never lose a dime in the market, no matter what. So what it says is you can get up to 14% of market gains. But they guarantee you a floor of 0. And really, over the life of the account, they guarantee you 3% per year if the market were to do 0 every year, which is not going to happen. But floor is 0, cap of 14%, or up to 14%. So if the market did 13%, what would you get in the market?
13%.
13%. If it did 18%, what would you get?
14%.
You get 14%, right? You're capped at 14. If it did negative 38%, what would you get?
0.
0. See how this is working here? It goes up, it's getting market gains, and then when the market goes boom and tanks, you flatline. So that means you get to keep, you're guaranteed to keep all your principal and all your gains in the market forever. Guaranteed by a legal reserve company, which is the insurance company, meaning they have to have 103% of all their liabilities at all times in the bank so they can pay you whenever you need to be paid. So flat line. That's it. And just so you know, this blue line right here, it's only being run at 7.5%. So when the market did better than 14, this line doesn't even show that. So the number at the end here is actually way less than it should be. So you start at 100,000, you end at 211, right? 211,000. That's because you're not experiencing any loss from the market. But what we didn't even talk about is a net number. So this number here, this red line, that's a gross number. In fact, it's disgusting, but it's gross because you still didn't account for fees and commissions and taxes. Blue line, gross, completely tax-free, and the fees are built into the blue line. Everything is built in there. So 211 or 95, that's the question we're faced with here. And that's what an IUL is, and that's how powerful it is. That's what it does. So how is this even possible? This is possible because of a lot of different things that have happened throughout history. And number one, I'll tell you right now, is tax codes. Tax codes 101 and 7702. Those were written about 50 years ago. And the tax code, just so you know, is about 93,000 pages long. How many people think they can read 93,000 pages? You think anybody's ever read 93,000 pages? I don't think so either. Who even wrote that? What I want to know is who wrote that. The truth is, a bunch of people over a long period of time. But your tax advisors, your financial advisors, all those guys, nobody's read that tax code. So what makes you think they know anything about it? You know, they don't know these two tax codes. They don't know that you can grow and take your money tax-free. And that's what these two rules say. They say that so long as your money is wrapped around a life insurance policy, you're able to put your money away, grow it, and then take the gains and the principal tax-free on the back end, which is what we're talking about with that blue line. So this happened about 50 years ago. That's the first thing that makes this possible, is the tax code. Second thing, this is called indexed universal life. This I stands for indexing, and indexing is a form of investment. It's not an investment, it's an investment strategy. And that was developed by a guy named John Bogle, and that was in 1976. 1976? Mm-hmm. So John Bogle's a guy, he was a broker, Broker Joe, the guy that you're paying 3 to 5% every year. He was just like everybody else. What do? They buy, they sell, they buy, they sell. They try to time and beat the market, which everybody knows is impossible to do. And they'll tell you otherwise, but nobody can time the market. It just doesn't work like that. If they could, they'd be wealthier than everybody else, you know, and generally they're not. They're just regular guys. So Broker Joe cannot time the market. That was John Bogle. He was that guy. And he said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done trying to buy and sell and time the market and beat it, because I know I can't do that. I know none of you can either. So what did he do? He went to the S&P 500, right? The top 500 companies in the country. And he bought an equivalent dollar amount in all 500 companies. So he split up his pot of money, and he did equal dollar amounts to every one of the 500 companies. Follow? And he sat on it for a year. While everybody else was buying and selling, he sat on it. He didn't touch it or move it or anything. He just let it sit there. And what happened at the end of the year? Who do you think won? John Bogle or the rest of Broker Joe and all those guys? Bogle. That was the birth of indexing. So it's called dollar cost averaging is another word for it. So you spread your money out on a lot of different stuff, equal dollar amounts, and sit on it. And in the end, John Bogle beat 9 out of 10 of those investors. 9 out of 10. Now there's some studies that have been done, white papers that came out that said in the first 5 years of using an indexing strategy, you win 85% of the time. Is it 85? I think it was 80. It's around 80, 85%, somewhere right between there. And after 5 years, you win 92% of the time. So I don't know about you, but if I was going to a casino and there was a game that said you're going to win this game 92% of the time, I'm going to go play that game.
Yeah. Sit there all
Wouldn't
night. Sit there all night.
It's a slot machine, 92% odds. Yeah, I'll take that. And I'm a stats guy, statistics, so. Basically fact. You can't argue it. If 95% of the time that's true, you can't argue it. 90% is right there in that category too. And in my own research that I've done, 90% is significant enough to say this is significant and you should do that and pay attention. So indexing, John Bogle, 92% time you're going to win. Is there any reason anybody would do anything else? I can't see one. Why would you? It doesn't make any sense. So moving right along. Number 3, we got tax codes, we got John Bogle, and then we got in 1999, some laws changed. So prior to 1999, there was an act called, Trey, what was it called?
Glass-Steagall Act.
Glass-Steagall Act. Well, I'm calling Trey for that. The Glass-Steagall Act in 1999, prior to 1999, said that banks can only do banking, stockbrokers can only do stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and insurance companies can only do insurance. They can't cross the streams, you know, like Ghostbusters. Don't cross the streams. You can't do that. Stay in your respective industries. You can't mix. But in 1999, they passed the Financial Modernization Act. And what that said is, go compete. Cross the streams all you want. Because you know they killed the bigger ghost by crossing the streams in the movie, right? Second one. Does anybody watch Ghostbusters? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, they were able to compete. So now you can go into a bank. You can get insurance from a bank. You can get some, brokerage accounts from a bank. You can go get insurance from a stockbroker if you want. So out of those 3, who do you think won? There's banks, brokers, insurance companies.
Probably insurance companies.
Probably insurance companies. You're absolutely right. And the reason why that is because they have more money than anybody else out there. In the world. 80% of the global wealth goes through insurance companies. And why is that? Who owns a home in here? We got 2. Who drives a car in here? The car insurance, right? Yep. Every month paying car insurance. How many times have you used it? Probably not that many unless you're a terrible driver. I haven't used mine once and I've been driving for years now. Same thing. You go on, you rent a car, you pay insurance for the rental
That's
car.
a scam.
You go on a plane, you pay insurance for your bags. You go, there's insurance on everything you can imagine. And how often do claims happen? Not that often. Health insurance, we're all required to have that now. So that's why insurance companies have more money than anyone else. And they're able to provide guarantees that other companies are not. That is how they're able to say, we'll give you market rates of return 14%, which, by the way, the market only went over 14% in the last 12 years. 2 times. 2 times in 12 years, it went over 14%, and one was 23 and one was 26. That's it. So 14%, if you're getting 14%, you're doing pretty darn good. And if you're basing your percentage on the average of the S&P 500, that is awesome, especially if you're using indexing as your strategy. Because if you have a qualified plan, 401k, whatever, they're going to tell you to diversify. They're going to tell you, take some high-risk portfolios, take some low-risk portfolios, and that way you cushion your losses and still get gains. That's not what's happening. You're just canceling out your wins.
Mhm.
You're getting middle of the road. Are you going to ever get the average of the S&P 500? No way. Not if you're doing that. When you go to a casino, when you bet big, you win big.
I mean, you lose big too.
And you lose big too. That's how it works. Here, you can get returns like you're winning big, except you don't have to risk a darn thing. So that's why this product is so powerful. And these are the things that allow it. 1999, Glass-Steagall. Insurance companies won by being able to provide a guarantee for everyone. And now what we're going to talk about is the second part of what you get with an IUL. Not only the market rates of return with no risk, the tax-free growth and withdrawals. Sorry. You're paying half as many fees than you would in a qualified account or the life of the account, and you're also getting life insurance and living benefits. Living benefits is one of our crusades. It's a very new thing to the insurance industry, especially in the United States. Only 18 out of 2,700 plus companies in the country provide this right now for people. And there's another person in this room that tells the story way better than I will. So I'll bring up Trey Carter to tell you a little bit more about the other benefits to having an IUL.
Good evening, everybody. First thing I'd like you to do is go ahead and write down 10 names that you know, love, and care about most on a piece of paper. So if y'all can get a piece of paper back there. Just a quick introduction. My name is Trey Carter. I've been with Empower for about 6 months now. It's changed my life drastically, not just on a business side, but as an individual. And I know a lot of you in here. We went to school together. I've been blessed to know the young family for many years. And does everybody have this? Good. All right, so like I said, 10 names that you know, love, and care about most. And if you get anything tonight, please, I beg you to pay attention and get what living benefits is, because this is a crusade, and this is my personal crusade, and it's really why I'm in the business. Because reality is, life's harsh, you know, and what are we doing to protect ourselves? So by show of hands, everybody should be close to done. By show of hands, who in here knows somebody younger than the age of 65 that's had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke? My hand's up for me. Do you know anybody that's had a heart attack, cancer, stroke before the age of 65 and still surviving? Excuse me. So everybody's hands. If everyone looks around, everyone's hands are up right now. Everybody. And every week we do this, everybody's hands are up. And it's sad. Because the fact of the matter is, you can go ahead and cross 7 of those names off that list right now. Doesn't matter who, just go ahead and cross 7 off. Statistics say 7 out of 10 people are going to have a heart attack, cancer, or stroke before they even turn the age of 65. 7 out of 10. Is that scary? Jimmy, right? Yeah, Jimmy, Jeff, Jay. Is that scary? Yeah. What are we doing to protect ourselves? We have health insurance, so if we get sick and then we get out of the hospitals, the doctors get paid, the hospitals get paid, but you don't get paid. So when you have a family and you do become ill, how are you going to pay your bills when you can't go to work? Does anybody happen to know the average age of a heart attack in America? I'll tell you, it's 42 years old. So average age of heart attack is 42 years old. Can somebody tell me the average age of bankruptcy? Anybody? Ryan?
43 years old.
43. You must have heard this before, Ryan. Sorry, my handwriting is just as good as Ryan's. Can anybody tell me why? I just gave you the answer a minute ago. Paul?
Once you have a heart attack or stroke or cancer, you got to be out of work for at least a year.
Or even 6 months. So what do people do? They drain their savings. They liquidate their qualified plans that they thought were the nest egg. And then what happens? You have nothing to do. You can't do anything. What are we doing to protect ourselves from that? So I'm here to tell you, excuse me, my own life. The reason I'm so passionate about this and why I have no problem talking to anybody about this and why I believe everybody in the whole world should know about this is because I lost my mother at the age of 44. She had 2 strokes. I lost my mother and I lost the house that I grew up in, a business they had. And then just last week, my uncle was 45 years old, had a stroke. My father's had a stroke. Luckily, I still have my father. And my uncle was my first one on my list to go talk to, and I failed. And the reason I had you guys write down those names is because I don't want you to feel the burden that I do, because I feel pretty bad that I didn't even go talk to my own family member when I tried, but I let him give me some excuses. I don't want you guys to do that. You guys care about your family. I'm sure you care about the names on that list. You should go talk to them. They need to know about living benefits, and I'm going to explain what that is right now. And before I explain it, just hear these statistics. Excuse me, I have a hard time saying that word. Statistics real quick. I went and looked this up real quick, so just bear with me. 56 million Americans under the age of 65 struggle paying medical bills. Over 15 million Americans ages 19 to 64 will use up savings to pay medical bills. Over 11 million Americans ages 19 to 64 will take on credit card debt to pay medical expenses. 10 million Americans ages 19 to 64 will not be able to pay for necessities, meaning rent, food, electric, whatever it is. And over 16 million children live in households struggling with medical bills. I went online today to find all these facts, and they're everywhere. Everywhere. And another thing, 3 in 5 or over 60% of bankruptcies are due to medical expenses. That's not stuff I'm making up. That's all over the internet. Go look up yourself. You all raise your hands. You know somebody that became ill. So what living benefits is I'll tell you a quick story. There's a lady, the Bernard brothers. They started open heart surgery. And this is a true story. They did a lung transplant on a lady, what was she, buying in her mid-30s, right? Early 40s or something. And it went successful. She was coherent. She accepted it. And the doctors told her, look, you can't go to work, period. You can't go to work. She came back 6 months later for, her checkup, and she just looked like death. She looked horrible. Absolutely horrible. And the doctor said, what are you doing? What's wrong? And she said, I'm working. And they said, whoa. You just had a lung transplant. How are you going to go to work? You can't do that. You're going to send yourself into remission. And she said, look, I have 2 kids. I'm a single mother. I got to put food on the table. I don't have a choice. Well, 6 months later, she died. True story. She had a life insurance policy, and they paid her when she was dead. So her family got the money. But don't you think she could use that money when she was alive? Hence, that's where living benefits came into play. The Bernard brothers, the 2 doctors, have big influences over in the insurance companies over in the UK. They went over there, and they went to the insurance companies. They said, look, we're over here saving people, and you're out there killing them. You're already going to pay them the money when they die. From the day that they sign that contract, you've had that money on hand. Like Ryan was saying, it's a legal reserve company, so they automatically have that money on hand. They're going to pay it to you when you die. Why not give it to them when they're alive, when they can benefit from it? So in case of a critical, I'm not going to try to spell it. So in case you become critically, I'll try. I think I got it. Chronically or terminally ill, you have access up to 90% of your death benefit. Meaning, you guys know what life insurance is. Do you happen to own life insurance? Yeah. So what do you got to do to benefit from it? Sucks, right? Yeah, I mean, so you die, they pay. That's what life insurance is. Say you have $100,000 death benefit. So when you die, they're going to pay you $100,000. Everybody got it? That's life insurance. What living benefits is, it's like I said, in the case that you have one of these three illnesses, you can access up to 90% of that $100,000. So when you do become ill, because it's a fact, 7 out of 10 of this, it's going to happen. There's probably, what, close to 20 of us in here? That means about 14 of us. Who's it going to be? And what are we doing to protect ourselves? So you have access up to 90% of your money. So when you need it most, you're going to be all right. And I don't know about you guys, but I love what I do because I can protect people. I can prevent that. And I don't know how you'd feel bringing somebody a $90,000 check, but I feel pretty good while other people are bringing get well flower cards. I don't see what else that's better for people that you could do. And you're going to tell me you could save for retirement, not give all your money to Uncle Sam, and have living benefits. So Jeff, if you could save money, right? Right now you're paying fees and commissions, but if you could have a service like living benefits in return, wouldn't that be better? Because I know, we all know the 401k isn't going to do that. There's nothing out there that does this. Like Ryan said, there's only 18 out of 2,700 insurance companies that do living benefits, and we work exclusively with the top 3. So what I want you guys to do is go home and you need to talk to those people on the list and let us do the talking with and for you. Because I don't want that to happen. I feel real bad, and everybody should know about this. If you truly love and care about them, there's no reason that they shouldn't have living benefits, period. Can anybody disagree with me? You can disagree? No. I was about to say, oh man. All right, and then Brian, do you want to do business? That's my crusade. Like I said, if you get anything tonight, please get living benefits, please. Because now you know, and you need to protect yourself for your future. All of us do. I don't care how young we are. The thing is, right now, we're young, we're insurable. So that means we can get coverage for cheap. But what happens if now my uncle, he can't get an IUL because it's too much, it's too risky. The life insurance company isn't going to take that on. So you can't wait. We cannot wait, period. So to go, because this is a business opportunity. So to talk more about that, I'll go ahead and bring up Byron Firestone, and I'll let him close this out. That's it.
Yes, as Trey said, and as Steve said in the beginning, you're here for one or two reasons. Guy race, by the way, everybody get this? Living benefits. Personal crusade of everybody here, especially Trey, because he's experienced it in his own life. So as Steve said in the beginning, you're here for either one of two reasons: the business, the services. If you're not here for the business, you should definitely be here for the services. But this is a business opportunity at the same time. And may I ask you, Asia, did you go to school? Okay. So your resume, do you think your resume of whatever experiences you've had in your past, does that qualify you to make 6 figures? No. Anybody in here, besides Steve, have a resume in here that qualifies you to go get a job right now and make 6 figures, period? Look around right now. Everybody look around. Any field. I'm not seeing any hands go up. So people out there on TV land, if you can look around here, not one person has raised their hands. Okay, so now it's unfortunate. I went to school. I have a finance degree and business economics degree at Ohio University. I went for 4 years, I have a bachelor's degree in that. If I even went to get my master's or even my PhD, I would not, the first year out of college, make 6 figures. It's pretty sad, but nowadays a college degree is a high school diploma back in the day. In this business, what's your name, sir? Right in the middle, yeah. Montel? Montel, what you heard tonight, do you think you can explain that to 5 people or 2 people a month? If we were to sit there and train you and talk for you, would you be able to do that for 2 people out of an entire month? Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? The average person in our business, a client in our business, puts away $300. And at the VP level, which only takes 90 days to get to, the average client's putting away $300. Asian, how long does it take you to make $3,000? I'm asking you, give me the check. No, I mean, just make it. You don't have to, not spend it, just make it. 2 months? Montel, how about you? 2, 3 months? 2 months, 2, 3 months. 3.5 hours. Anybody, what would you pick? 3.5 hours? Would you pick 3.5 hours? 3.5 hours to talk to one client that's putting away $300 at a VP level. The company that we work with will pay you $3,000 to do that transaction. $3,000. So $300 for you, that's $3,000 in 3.5 hours. Now, does everybody do that? No. I'll be here personally, and Steve pointed out to me personally. I have a second job that I work in the food industry as well. And he pointed out to me that I'm making about $12 an hour. I did a transaction a while back that's paying me more than a doctor gets paid. That's absurd. So at $3,000 for 3.5 hours, who would trade time over money? Time is more valuable than money. But if you can save time and make more money, you would not want to do that. Okay? Now, Montel, you told me you could tell 2 people about this. Do you think you could bring 5 people? We've trained you. We've showed you how to tell everything. Do you think that you could just bring 5 people that are coachable, that want to work with you and work in this business? You could just explain 5 people to come in. Okay, say we got Montel right here. All right? So here you are, Montel. That's you. This is your business. This is all you. All right? You got 5 people now working underneath you. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got your little pupils right here. You've been trained. Now you're training them. Let's say 2 of these people out here, they're duds. They're just like people that didn't plan out. They didn't pan out at all. So boom. He's done. He's done. And you're doing 2 transactions a month, just yourself. So 2 people you're talking to. So that's 7 hours of work you are putting in an entire month. You're doing 2 transactions. Your pupils are doing 2 as well. At the average, at a VP level, that's a total of 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 transactions the entire month. That's it. Do you know what you're making if you do that? You're making $127,000. Does that intrigue you at all? You alone. I mean, your pupils are also making money as well, but you yourself are making $127,000 a year. This is the financial industry. It's the best paying industry in the world. If you're going to work hard for your dollar, shouldn't you be paid the most? What do you do right now, Montel? Buffalo Water Wings? So you wake up every morning and you go do a job and you do just enough not to get fired and they pay you just enough not for you to quit. Is that true? It's true. What if there was no limit to what you could make? No limit, period. Would you work harder? Exactly. That's what this business is all about. That's what the financial industry is all about. What you do, you get paid the best dollar for what you do. You do nothing? Well, if you do nothing in your job, what happens? You get fired? Exactly. You do nothing, you get nothing. But if you, whatever hours you put in, you get paid the best. I'm seeing for myself, personally. Does $1,000 an hour sound good to you? Sounds pretty darn good, right? They sit back there going, well, I don't know. It might be too good to be true. I never heard of that before. $15, $20 an hour sounds good to me. $1,000 is because we don't dream big enough. You have to dream big enough. This is a business opportunity, and to be able to not only protect people from what's happening in the world today, for living benefits, 1, 2, retirement. I mean, 401ks now are having 12 to 17 different fees in it. I'm talking to my own family about this. We are protecting families and doing what's good and right for everybody, making a profound difference in everybody's life, one person at a time. We're not here to sell you anything. This isn't pills, potions, whatever. This is life. And we are telling you what is happening, what unethical practices are happening in 401ks, in retirement plans, in qualified plans. Being able to show someone and tell them what is happening, what they could be doing, is pretty profound. And be able to be paid this type of money on top of that, you can't beat that. That's the business aspect of this. And I'm going to have our CEO, Steve Young, come up and close it out for us.
Thanks, Bobby. Good job, buddy. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, now, come on, wake up. I got a few things to ask you, and I hope, Jim, you're still on TV land out there watching. So I hope you learned a lot, and everybody else that's out there. Listen, learned something else new, Sean, in there today? Yeah. What'd you like best of what you heard? Living benefits. Living benefits, a big deal, right? To hear Trey's story? Yeah. You see, mind-boggling, and he's beating himself up for his uncle. You know what? Jeff, you know how serious that is? I mean, for him just to say that, I mean, he can't go to his uncle now and try to help him because it burned. See, watch this one. If you're going to be in business, know that how many of you would love to be in your business? I don't care what it is. I don't care what your hobby is. If you could be in your own business, self-reliant, not relying on anybody else, how many of you would do it? Raise your hands. Great. Now, the question is, what business would that be in? Here's what we love. We love knowing that we're right 100% of the time. Woo! How cool is that? How many of you want to be cool? Woo! You want to? What's your date? I can't pronounce your name. What was it again? Look right at you. What is it? Montel. What Montel? You got to speak loud, man. Montel. Okay, I'm old. I can't hear. Montel. Okay. Now you made me forget what I was talking about. Montel was about to go. I was going, woo! Okay. Now, being self-reliant in your own business. How many of you would like to do that? That's what I was asking you, right? Now, not having a thumb on you. Why do you go to work? Why do you go to work for? Hey, Bill. See how excited you say, hey, Bill. You want thumbs up, Bill. Man, there's more to life than just getting by. Listen to this. How many of you know that somebody's got money in the bank? They're doing it wrong. How many of you know somebody's got credit cards? They're doing it wrong. How many people know somebody lives in a house? What, do you live in a hut there, Garrett? A buck tent? You know somebody has a mortgage. Jeff, why do you have a mortgage? Why? Okay, for the house. What he's trying to say is, I have it all in one. And that's all I know. That's all he knew. You think I'm going to let him get away with having a mortgage after this? No. How many people know I'm going to beat him to death, or he's going to be floating down a canal somewhere? You know, see, no. How would you like if I'm going to sit with you and show you how many years you got in your mortgage left? 10. Okay, if we can get rid of it out of your pocket, be dumb for him not to. Boom. Boom. Now, how many people know that he does not want to be dumb? Raise your hand. How many people think there's a possibility he might be? Raise your hands. Right, his own hand went up. That's Jeff. I love that guy. Okay, and now Jeff's here only because out of respect for me, because I call him asking him because I'm assistant, because I want him to know exactly what you just said tonight for him and his family. You see, he only has he's got the wrong kind, and he doesn't know it, and he doesn't think he's going to have a heart attack or stroke or cancer. He's got 3 kids, and he's the best father. He's an unbelievable father. He goes all over the place. So he is going to see. I'm coming after him. I'm not going to let him get away with it. Are you clear about that? Okay, he's going to have to tell me no, and then I'll never bother him again. I'll never say another word to him again. But he's going to have to cross the line because I'm going to push it with him. What do you think of that, Cody? And he's right in the room listening to me. And then I'm going to go get his wife and say, you ought to leave him if he doesn't do it. And she will. Go with you, Sean. She's nice. I'm only kidding. It's a dating game, too. What do you got, Paul?
So I have a good question for you, Coach. You said if you die, you don't benefit from your life insurance. But I wouldn't consider your family benefiting. If your family had a choice between your life and your life insurance policy, what do you think they would choose?
Depends on what day you ask them.
He knows his kid, man.
Of course. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And on top of this, how many of you know somebody that works there? They're all busting their chops. We said it in the early part of the evening about you all have pension funds. You all, the company says, oh, take it, and you do it. They are doing it blindly and don't have a clue. Jeff, they have no idea the average fee in a 401k. The average fees, they're paying 12 to 17 different fees. Tell me why you would do that and do it knowingly.
You wouldn't.
No. And if you did, you're a moron. How many people know I just insulted everybody and would admit it? Boom. We're here to insult you. If you want to be. I don't want to be. How am I doing, Sean? Good. All right. Little loud, little rambunctious, but you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now listen to this. See, I love being in a business. See, anybody that has a roof over the head, they're probably a prospective client. And remember, 9 out of 10 people don't spend money with us because we find lost money for people. So if they live in a house, they've got life insurance. If they got a pension fund, they got the wrong kind. Guess what? There's 150 million people in this country today that got the wrong kind of life insurance. 150 million. How many of you have you spoken to? A little slow in the draw. Why are you keeping them home? You got to get them out. You got to make them go build a business. Holy smokes. Am I making sense? And every time you move money from A to B, you get paid. Now, you look like a bright guy in the back. Wait, I can't pronounce your name either. I'm terrible. What is it? Pelosi. What are you, Russian, Pelosi? What do you do for a living again, Pelosi? You cook. All right, so do we. Up a lot of stuff, and we mess it up. Here we go. Who's got an FIP? See, here's what you're really here for. See, Jeff, I think everybody ought to have one. Everybody in this business gets one. We all one. Paul's got one back. You got one? You got one? Where's yours?
No.
What, you don't know?
It's on a computer.
You are such an. How many people know he's a nerd? And who's your teammate? So your teammate's a nerd too for letting him get away with it. It's an FIP. You know what this is? Everybody would be fifth. You know what that is, Pelosi? That's a financial independent plan. How many people? You all think everybody ought to have one? Yeah. Do you have one? Yeah. Where is it?
Insurance and all that.
Through your job. Do you think your job's looking out for you? I love the way you say it. I promise you, you just have some kind of benefits. You don't have an FIP. Yeah, this is a self-funded one. This was found money. This is Ryan. Ryan happens to have a master's degree. He's a biologist. He picks up bugs in waters all day. Imagine spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through college to pick up bugs. Why? Why? And he'll never make $100,000 for $38 a month. Jeff, here's what he's got. He's got, for life insurance, $350,000 for life insurance. If he becomes sick, disabled, or terminally ill, he's got an option to pull $529,000 to $600,000 out of there if he wants to. Okay, at various ages is what that reflects to. And the retirement income right now, with him doing $38 a month at 66 until the day he's dead, they're going to pay him $103,000 a year tax-free income. That's more than he makes right now, $103,000, only at $38 a month. Now, should he be funding this more? Yes. Will he? Yes. You know why? Because I'm going to kill him if he doesn't. Okay? Because I have to be related. I've already been footing his bill long enough. Boom! So, but how many people think you should have an FIP? Pretty good, right? That's what we do for people. So here's what we say to people. You have the questionnaire?
Yeah.
What I'd like you to do is fill out a questionnaire to evaluate what we're saying, how we're saying it, because we want to get better all the time. So I want to evaluate the speakers and stuff, and you can help us do it as a guest. And then secondly, the person that invited you here, all you got to do, and you don't have to, Jeff has to, okay, but all the other guests, that's up to who invited you. You have to fill out what's called a CNA, a Certified Needs Analysis, or Simple Needs Analysis, and run your circumstances through the computer. And I'll give you a quick aside. Byron, do you remember Scott's example numbers in your head? Yes, sir. Okay, I don't. I just remember the debt side. Because remember, that debt program, by the way, we didn't do that very much justice tonight. That debt program's second to none. It's a live, state-of-the-art. If you went out for dinner tonight, not Jeff, we go over next door and you swipe your card and buy me a bunch of beers and a dinner or something like that, you go out of your car and bring up your debt program and see what it did to your debt. It's live. It's real time. You know why that's important? because every other program you see out there is predicated on what you're doing and what you told the computer one time. No, this is your circumstances. How many of your circumstances change and you're volatile? You might make more money one month, less money next month. You might have more bills one month. This thing tracks you. Now, your buddy had a program that he's now out of debt in 1 year and 1 month. Is that correct?
Correct.
Versus 6 years?
7.5.
Oh, 7.5. Thank you. Whoa. See, so we just reduced to 7.5. And he was, what else did we do for him?
I wanted to retire by age 72.
So he wanted to retire at 72. And incidentally, that the reason why he wanted to is because he thought he had to. Because he's 46. 46 and has nothing because he got wiped out from a lawsuit, a divorce, devastated, came down here broker than broke. Anybody know somebody like that? Raise your hand. Raise your hands, everybody. And listen, there's a little phrase, Sean. You ready for it? When you're broke, you're a joke. When you got cash, you're a smash. How you doing? Good. All right. Okay. Are you all with me now? So here we go. So he was 72, and what do you want to retire with?
$40,000, and that is taxable income.
That's what he wanted. That was his goal on his own form that you filled out. Am I correct? That's what he said. He said, if you can examine my circumstances, I'm in. He sat right in this row right here a few weeks ago. Sat there, left. We turned around and got him out of debt right here, then used the money from the debt to fund his retirement account. And what did we do? How much insurance does he have?
He's retired by age 66.
Right? So 66, not 72. How much money does he have?
He has $70,000 of tax-free income.
Okay.
To the year he dies.
All right. Now, can you see that back there, Jeff? Because now, is there anything there to think about? Zero. A or B. That's what we do. I love this because I could go A or B. I don't have to be a real smart guy. See, listen to this, Ashton. It's all about the math. And I suck at math. Personally, I'm not proud about telling you this. I don't know how I cheated my way through algebra. Okay, in geometry, I failed twice. I could have taught it the third time around. Because then I knew I had to pay attention. I wasn't into trapezoids, I didn't know what they were all for. So I'm not good at math, but I can count money. How many of you can count money? Okay, you can qualify. Okay, that guy can count that money. He didn't have to think twice when he saw that money. At 66, you mean I can quit at 66 and have a $70,000, which is $30,000 greater than I thought I was going to have, and that's tax-free? That's exactly what we mean. I'm in. What insurance do we have for him now?
He started out with $252,000.
And you know what he had? None before. And he's got living benefits, none before. And we spent no money out of his pocket. Is that correct? What?
No money out of pocket, but $574 living benefits.
Oh, 574. Okay. So watch that. No money out of pocket to have this plan. We used the debt and fund his retirement program. All by Jeff. Was this hard to do? In fact, I went with him. Where did we go? We went to Starbucks. I sat in Starbucks with this and him. And then Ryan and he sat that night when he was up at some lake in the middle of Florida here somewhere, and they did it all on computer, and he became a customer. And then you went to his house to have our debt coaches get on to teach him how to upload the program. Is he happy with it?
Yeah.
Boom. Guy's totally happy. That's what we do. Sean, could you do that for people? Yeah. See, everybody you know, now watch. You can't run out of here and go talk to people and tell everybody what we just showed you. Like, Jeff, you couldn't go home and even I know your wife loves you, but that's all she does. She doesn't understand you. If you knew Jeff, nobody understands Jeff. No, I'm only kidding. See, now, it's funny. My wife loves me very much. She doesn't like the way I do anything. See, so we don't want you to go home and try to explain this to your loved ones. We will, because you're going to throw up on them. Trust me when I tell you. I know you. I know what I'm talking about. I live with everything. Baloney. How many of you now have already done what I told you not to do? Have you stubbed your toe?
So bad.
A little bit? Want to share any? I mean, you just got out and throw up all over yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you thought you knew something, right? And then they asked you a question, you went, hum, let me get back to you.
Even worse.
Even worse, right. Yes, Brian.
Personal story of my own. When I first started working here, I put a little bit of slur up all over my own family. And I had my own uncle tell me that last week, and I told him, I asked him, how he's doing and everything, and he said, how are you doing? I said, well, I made $350
He said, wait, what?
But keep talking to him. Every time you get paid, call him up. Say, I just get paid again. See, and by the way, we have multiple income streams. I don't think it's a smart business if you're ever dependent on one income stream. What's better than one income stream? Multiple. We have multiple. The electricity pays you, the debt pays you, the insurance pays you. And by the way, for the very wealthy people too, we have what's called a RIA. Okay? Name it. Vans. Vans. Our investment account.
Yeah, registered investment advising account.
See,
Manage
that means,
money.
see, now let me tell you, Joe, that's pretty cool because you see, when you have an investment advisor, normally they don't take you for under like 100,000 minimum. We take people for $10,000 and you get the best service in the United States. And guess what? It's not commission based. It's fee based. So we have it all. We go from the brokers to the broke to the wealthiest to the wealthy, and we hit everybody. We don't discriminate anywhere because everybody, here's what we know. The industry doesn't want people waking up. The government wants your money. They want to keep setting the rules. No, we are here to rescue you from your 401ks, from your IRAs, from the money that you're giving away to everybody else but you and the family that you thought you were doing. See, everybody thought they're doing the right thing, me included, until I found out the truth. When I found out the truth now I'm on a mission. A mission to tell everybody that's willing to listen. And the ones that don't, you know what I do, Asia? You ever get dandruff?
Love that sound.
Isn't it? It's just, and I went how far to go, boom, and ask me if I care.
You care.
No. Next. There's millions of people in this country. Do I care what people think? No. I have enough trouble, Garrett, trying to control my thinking. Never mind trying to control somebody else's. So all I can do is tell our story. That's what we do. We tell our story, make a difference. Would you like to know? And we learn to ask questions. This is an asking questions business. This isn't being a know-it-all. And so tomorrow, by the way, we're giving a special class at Florida Gulf Coast University at 8 o'clock in Corey's class. It's a business ethics class. Jeff, now how do we get in there? Because we're ethical. And we're going to expose the banks and the credit unions and the insurance companies and the mortgage companies and the big time and the corporations. We're even going to expose the universities are going to, taking all their money, giving them in debt, letting them have credit card companies on their campus that they make millions of dollars from, applying, and the kids go in debt by using them because they get a free T-shirt in the bag. And they have no idea that the university is making millions of dollars for doing that. That's unethical, in my opinion. Now that professor is going to have a heart attack.
Oh yeah.
Oh, when we finish. And those kids are going to be scared to death because I'm saying you are all killing your parents and you don't know it. Boom! We're going to boom. There's going to be a bunch of booms tomorrow. Okay, we're going to wake that class up. If you want to go to it, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Yes, Ryan.
It's it's at 8 o'clock, Academic Building 7, room 114, and it's just a lecture called Retirement for Millennials: Challenges for the Future and the Ethics of Our Current Financial Environment. So it'll be a few of us speaking in front of students, and it's an academic discussion about exactly what we're talking about here. So it'll be worth it if you want to make it out.
Sean, how young are you?
27.
27. See, I like Jeff and I are the old farts, and really I am in this room. And what I love a lot is, Jeff, see, young kids, this is how I did it 40 years, 30 years ago. Young kids who wanted to be somebody so bad they couldn't stand it when they got coachable, they all blew up, you know why? Because they all had parents, they all had friends, families, uncles, aunts, and we taught them the language and they went nuts. And they built a business. To this day, there's a kid that you just sent me a clip on the other day that I taught the business to that's not gotten paid less than $1.4 million for the last 25 years of his life. Okay, and he was a punky kid at Oneonta State College with long hair, came and he couldn't get a job. He worked in New York City hanging the newspaper from New York Times, they call him a paper hanger, and he painted on the weekends. And he brought all of his buddies, just like all jocks they were, Jeff, playing together, just like our rugby guys kind of thing. They all stayed together and they all, in the summers, hung out together. And he brought all of them and they all got bush-eyed, wide-eyed. And we had to go to their families, say, give them space. You know, patience is the big play. It doesn't happen overnight. He ain't going to make $1 million overnight. But he also can't get distracted, and you got to be good. See, it's balance. We got to learn to balance things out. It's a balanced life. So we preach about a lot of things. This is about self-improvement in your own self, in your own life, besides enabling other people. And if you're not getting better inside, then you can't be good to other people. That's mandatory. We give you books to read and everything. You just self-improve all the time. When you do that, you can be somebody. So that's what we're looking for. That's why we're sponsoring people. We want to be the largest financial services in the company. By the way, all the big, huge corporations that work with us that have billions of dollars in assets already made a commitment to buy us when we hit certain targets, and you own it. You own everything you do here. This isn't Empower. Empower doesn't own it. You own what you do. That's your block of business. Unlike any other business in the United States. See, this isn't where you work for some company and they keep your business and block. No, this is what you own it. So if the company buys us out too, you're going to get your share, whatever you've done. If you've done a little, you're going to get a little. If you've done a lot, you're going to like it. And you still own your business. How people can get excited about that? So you're getting to use billions of dollars of not your money. Best thing in the business world, if you want to learn really something, you got to do two things. If you want, and I'm closing now. Okay? It's OPE. This is big. Sean, you paying attention?
Yes.
Okay, you sure? Were you down there for a minute? It looked a little blank. You're saying, where's the Budweiser? Okay, so OPE, that's one thing. Okay, and then OP, oh, that's a P. M. Those are the two things in the formula. Jim, if you're there watching on TV land, I hope you're still with us there doing health insurance. Here's how you're going to make a lot of money doing your agency up there in Clearwater when we get to you. Other people's efforts. How many of you work for somebody else? Like I said, other people's efforts. They're loving you. And then other people's money. How many of you use a bank? Go to the bank, put your money in the bank. You just give it to them. And they're taking it. And that's why they're screwing you, giving that 2% when they're making all that other interest on it. Other people's efforts, other people's money builds you a business. If you can learn how to do that, you're going to be a wealthy person. That's what this company is founded on. The right principles to teach people business to be able to manifest themselves. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? Did you understand me, Adrian? You just give me that look and saying, yeah, I can say yes. What's that?
Understanding.
Well, other people's efforts. I can't do this alone. So if you're working with me too, I got your effort, right? Great. And if I don't have enough money, I can go borrow your money and make it back to you, right? Okay, that's what the banks are doing. Am I right or right? See, it's really simple. So I'm closing out. What'd you like best since you haven't been here in a while? I'm glad you're here. What'd you like best?
I like the living package still. I don't want to use that one because everybody can use that.
Don't worry about other people.
I just like that I got a better understanding this time.
Good. Come back again until you clearly get it. Until it's coming out of your mouth like it does his. See, he's like a parrot now, right? He's getting it. You know, it's pretty good. He's getting it. I'm proud of him, man. There's been a lot of growth, and I got no question about it. Sean, what'd you like best?
The debt software and the living benefits.
Oh, debt software is big. And how many people could use that? Everybody! And it pays for itself. In fact, in his case, he has a girl who's going to be out of debt from 26 years to 4.9 years, and it paid for itself in 4 months. Because of what we did with her, she doesn't have any kind of retirement to speak of. She had $11,000 in retirement account. Now she's going to have $82,000 a year coming in tax-free without a dime out of her pocket. Got a health and life insurance and living benefits. Didn't have either of them before. How do you say no to that? Right. Yeah. Some people are dumb.
And with what she was currently doing, she's going to be completely broke and out of money in 5 years after. So by 70 years old, she would be flat broke.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Very, very, very key. Thank you, Ryan. Jeff, what we do now is not only when we do the FIP, we show people what they think they have and say, okay, what do you want out of that then for an income every year? You tell us what it is. We plug it in there and we tell you when you're broke. Her case, how long was it?
It was not even 5 years.
All of her money for all this time working, she would be broke in 5 years.
We're going to Publix.
Out of money. Ours goes for 80 until debt. $82,000 tax free. Unbelievable. So, yes, sir.
The story I just found out today. My grandmother on the other side retired at age 65. Thought she was going to be able to retire for good. Ran out of money in 5.5 years. Started working at CVS, and now he's retired again, and is now completely reliant on Social Security.
Scary, isn't it? So that's why your mother's really probably shaking her pants. Just guess who's going to live together? That's how it works, folks. You think I'm kidding? Turns out, in this society now, Jeff, you're going to be maybe taking care of your wife's parents or your parents, or one of the siblings will be. And then our loved ones will be taking care of us. I mean, Don will be wiping a little saliva off my mouth, or something. That's how it works, And they have to be caretakers. It's sad. It's very sad. And nobody's thinking like this, but tomorrow's coming. Guarantee it. Montel, what'd you like best about it now? Good job. How about you, Ashton? He's not even that creative, Ashton. No one can. Any questions for you, Ashton?
No, I actually do like this, what I heard, and this sounds very convincing, so I don't see why, I mean, like you said, it's only A or B, so I don't see why.
Amen. And the truth is what the truth is. You can't argue with it. You can try to twist it, not the truth though. Jeffrey, what'd you like, and what would you like best, and what kind of questions you got for me? I don't care what it is. It's open book.
I think that, from, you and I talked about a little bit about this before, but especially for you guys and young kids, I went to college, went to school. Did you learn any of this? No. This is life. This is what, you're learning this now 20 years old. You have 26 years to catch up to where I'm at. Imagine what you could do. I'm 45, but probably the stuff that Steve and I talked about, probably 49 of some of it, but all of it. Really, like 44 years old. When am I talking about? So that to me is not only that, but be able to teach my kids this. That's huge. Yeah. And the things I like about it is everyone has I know you guys aren't taking all the time, but for me, it's like, me and my wife talk about all the time. We got 20 more years, I'm around 67 years old. To me, the part that bothers me the most is that I've been doing it wrong for 20 years.
See, but he didn't know any better, so that's okay. And he still is there now, because I'm coming. You see, he can even throw me out. And I'll be okay with it. At least I know, because I love Jeff. Let me tell you something. One guy that came to an aid of ours is a young family from day one doing rugby, is that guy right there. Never stopped. In fact, I looked at old pictures from day one up in Atlanta, Georgia, or up in Georgia, and we went to the big dome. Who's in the pictures? Yo. Who's sitting next to me driving to New Orleans? Yo. Tennessee. Yo. I mean, he's been involved in everything. Now he's coaching the women, and he does it because he loves it. And he's at his kid, brings his kids everywhere. I love to town those kids, jump on them, kill them. They're great kids. They're nuts. And there's daughter back and forth to Georgia. Great husband, great father, good friend, great coach to people, loving, caring guy. I want 1 million people like that in the world. That's who I'm here to help. And they even have the right to say, don't leave me alone. And guess what I'm going to do? Absolutely. And guess what I do? You can still love people and do that. I do it to my sister all the time. Get out of here.
Some will, some won't.
So won't. So what? Right. Yep. Doesn't matter. And guess what? Here's another thing. The people that don't pay attention now, they ain't coming to me because I ain't loaning them any money either. See, you never loan money. You're only giving it. Understand that. I learned that from Mark Williams, one of the wealthiest people in this country. He's my personal mentor that taught me a lot of things personally. That's one thing he said to Young. You don't loan money. You're giving it. You loan it. You're never going to see it again. You better plan on that. And I believe him. I got burned more than once. I don't get burned anymore. You don't loan money. You're giving it. You can try to make a contract, but try to collect it. Okay? There's a bunch of things you'll learn. See, I told you about self-improvement. So here's one last thing you got to do. So fill out those forms, please, and then we'll stay and answer any questions. And you want to do a CNA, make an appointment with a person. Don't wait either. Do this within the next 72 hours. You know why? Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to go back in your rut again. Tomorrow. Same old, same old. What's different? Nothing. Fix it. Now. You were here how many months ago?
July.
Yeah, you probably blew 50 grand. How'd you like that? Oh, and by the way, Jeff, so you hear this. Will Paquette, I don't know if he's on right now watching this either. Okay? But Will Paquette's about to do one transaction up in the state of New Jersey. Is going to compensate him over $70,000 for one case. Last week, Dave Regis, $56,000, one case. Now, is that a lot out there? Yes, it is. You know why? There's a ton of seniors doing the wrong things that are trying to find places to move their money, and that's exactly what we do. There's a ton of that. So this is not infrequent. This is often. It's all those retirement accounts out there now. Lindsey Byram learned he's making $100,000 in the next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. Now, he's got a top contract, Lindsey Byram does. I'm going to tell you that up front, but so what? I mean, he's still bumped into that. He did a case for Reggie. Reggie made $8 grand and didn't even know he was making that money. $8 grand in a training sale. $8 grand in a training sale. Did you hear that? Okay, you guys didn't get excited. What's that? You heard that.
Going to save my grandfather from his IRA tomorrow and make over $10,000.
and tell them how much you lost in the last 3 days.
My grandfather has lost over $40,000 in the last 25 days.
Today, Bubba, today he lost over 250 points last time I looked before the market closed. See,
I checked it right at close.
what's that?
He lost 1.6%.
Just in today, in one day.
Here it comes.
Well, no, it's gonna, still, it's, no, you're still gonna go through the game. You're gonna get through the election, I'm telling you, within the next 18 months. You think the last 2008 was bad? Watch what happens. And watch the real estate prices and everything. I'm telling you, man, because it can't sustain itself. Yes.
We've got to talk about connect lending, we do business lending.
I meant to say when I was saying this stuff. So one of the things we do in our business too, by the way, Jeff, for business people, we now give loans. We have arrangements with over 4,600 lenders. So based upon who they are and what they are, they go through the system. They'll hear from them right away. You got a $5 million loan and what else?
45
A 45 what?
million. They're doing it. They're switching it over. We're doing that.
No way.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a happy boy. Oh, they did do it.
Yeah, we're-
See, we're on the phone. And it's all struck. See, Dumb and Dumber here. Okay. Dumb and Dumber here. No, he goes, what's going on? I said, I don't know. So I make a phone call. So I start harassing him. And then I go, I'm not looking it up in the back office because we don't have to do anything. We fill out an application. Here's what he did. He went and got a guy to fill out a page and had 16 questions in it. That's all he's done.
Making a couple $100,000, I think.
No. and we let the system go to work, and then we pick up the phone and say, how you doing with that? How you doing? And that's what we did last week, right? As a result, here it is. And our question was, and the guy was looking for $5 million. I thought that was pretty good. I was celebrating that on. He was bridging $5 million to go get the 45 that he had pre-approved. We said, no. We're going to do all 45. That's what we ought to do. And the guy agrees. We get a lender to do that. How many people think that Paul Dunbar buys cocktails? Okay, all right, very good.
Yeah.
So Jeff, that's another. See, we're not stopping. Multiple income streams, constant, all the time, because all those business people, he will do an IUL for him. He will do a retirement account for him on top of it. He'll do his insurance for him too. He ain't done. Boom! I love booming people. Isn't it good? How many people want to learn how to boom? Boom! It's just when nobody can argue with you, and they don't even like you. Yes.
My thing is, if there's people out there making that kind of money, even Paul sitting right there, why can't we? The only difference between all of us is the way we think.
Yeah, he opened up his mouth.
Yeah.
That's all he did. Wait, tell me how sophisticated your presentation was.
Oh, horrible. But see, I didn't even know that. I never even met the guy before. I talked to a guy I know who owns a restaurant. He said, you got to talk to this guy. He's looking for a loan. I said, all right, set up lunch with him.
Did you hear that? Here goes. What did we say last week?
Here, fill this out.
Did you hear the call last week?
Yes.
Find somebody who knows somebody who will bring you to see somebody. Can any of you do that? Can you find somebody who knows somebody who will bring you to see somebody? Who qualifies for that? Okay, it's that
Everybody in
simple.
this room, because they were brought here by somebody.
Right. I have no problem letting people know the facts and say, no, thank you. Great, wonderful. Okay, last thing you gotta do, give me a round of applause. I have to feel inspired. Thank you, baby. Appreciate it. What's that? Oh, the new one for
Yeah,
tomorrow?
for you.
Oh, thank you. I haven't seen that. What are you talking about?
You said you want one for Jeff.
Oh, yes, I do.
Come on now.
Yeah. Not before I'm dead. The way you go, snail snail.
Did you not say you work Saturdays? Did you say
I'm trying to, but
Saturdays?
it's gonna be hard to see.
I'll really try to keep the Saturdays or when you have. My personal, you know, because Tuesdays are great.
Oh, yeah, that's.
We learn something to do every time, but Saturday.